Riley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, July 17th. So welcome to the new moon in Cancer day. We actually have a pretty big day here. Yes, the new moon in Cancer is providing us with an opportunity to kind of clear the slate, so to speak, to really kind of release, surrender our control, our fixation, our attachments to the past. But we also have the nodes of the moon shifting here today, just hours within the new moon peaking in its Cancer gloriness. And that means that we are closing the door on the last 18 months of very, very tough love life lessons. And we are opening up the door to brand new life lessons that, of course, will gravitate around embodying the Aries energy and letting go of the Libran energy. If you want a little bit more in-depth little chat about that, I did address it in a mini rant in this week's Ascension forecast. And of course, I talked about it in greater detail in the 2023 energy forecast that I put out at the beginning of the year. I think you're looking for part 3. I think that's where I kind of stuck July into, because this is a major shift for us, astrology wise, karmically speaking wise, and the fact that it's just layered on top of this new moon in Cancer that has karmic ties already, and of course being the first new moon in this solstice chapter, there is a lot of change. There is a lot of pivoting going on, and I really recommend that you do the work. How can you do the work? Well, you can listen to the forecast, you can listen to the astro forecast that I put out for the new moon event. You can listen to all the different content that I've put out about it, and you can download your moon guide. That is the best way to do a deep dive into the shadow work for this particular energy. And of course, get in alignment, get prepared for the path, the direction that we are now going to be walking. So it is a very busy day in the cosmos with 12 different aspects here today. 9 of them are going to involve the moon, and Mondays are ruled over by the moon. The moon is in her rulership, not only on Mondays, but in Cancer energy. So this is an oomph on oomph on oomph with this emotional, intuitive, karmic shift. And we are definitely going to feel a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And of course, to experience how that's impacting your life, check your chart, do the work, download the moon guide, get your Cancer season e-guide out, and really capture where it is that this energy is pushing you. So we will see the moon go void, of course, very late in the day, 11:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to be exact. And then we will be locking into the Leo energy in the wee hours Tuesday morning. So we are going to get pretty much a full day of this moon in Cancer energy. And of course, including the very intense aspects that the new moon in Cancer will bring us at its peak energy. And of course, when the nodes shift, you can definitely expect to feel awkward, to feel kind of bouncing all over the place, a little bit discombobulated. So let's start off with the moon in Cancer semi-squaring Mars. Mars, of course, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire. Mars is in this Virgo energy now, really trying to identify the problems in order for us to solve them. We need to be very strategic. We need to plan. We need to be calculated with the moves that we are planning on making, because no energy can go to waste. So this particular interaction is definitely going to kind of bring up a little bit of an irritation, a little bit of an edginess, a little bit restless, if you will. There is a little bit of anxiety that will likely fester and manifest in digestive symptoms. Again, listen to the Ascension forecast for this week to understand where the energy is manifesting in our physical bodies. But this is basically just, keep in mind, we're sitting in the dark phase of the moon. There's no illumination. Right? With the new moon, there's no illumination. The moon is not visible in the sky. And so we are kind of navigating through a darker set of emotions, a darker set of thoughts in the dark phase of the moon. And of course, Mars being very impulsive, wanting to take action and make moves, feeling a little bit blocked and restricted by the Virgo energy, because of course we have to have a plan together. We can't waste any energy, any time, any mental energy either. And we are just not at the point where we're able to move forward and take that action. So therefore, the energy is bouncing all around, and frustration, irritation, and anxiety can definitely manifest from it. The moon in Cancer is going to square off with Chiron, get into the boxing ring, really fight it out with the wounded healer. Chiron, of course, in Aries energy has been pushing us into a quote unquote identity crisis. Why? Well, because we have to shed the layers of our skin that our ego has built in order for us to align with our heart and soul. We have to kind of address where it is that some of the wounds in our egoic programming has us stuck repeating past patterns and behaviors, and becoming aware of that cyclic nature provides the healing to said wounds. So this square is definitely not going to feel good. We're tapping into the shadow realm of what the Cancer energy is all about, which means that we're defensive, we're vulnerable, we're a little bit depressive, we're highly emotional, we're overwhelmed, and we need to really see where it is that we're not feeling safe and secure and stable. And of course, the whole point of a new moon is to sit in the darkness, sit in the funk, identify what it is that we no longer want to experience, and conjure up a better scenario, a better alternative that we can essentially start planning and really asserting ourselves towards. The moon is going to interact with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in Pisces energy. This is definitely going to show us where a little bit of a reality check is coming into form. We need this reality check. We need to be focused on the roles, on the responsibilities that we have in life. We have to understand where it is that we're closing the door on particular storylines, on particular soul contracts. Why is that? Well, because we're done. We've grown. We've recognized where the tough love life lessons are and were. And now we are identifying where it is that we have to let some things go in order to have the time, the space to be freed up to actually go after new dynamics. And a lot of this comes down to our belief system, comes down to recognizing a lot of our dreams, and equally as much recognizing the fears and the doubts, the insecurities that we have that may be blocking us from actually moving forward. Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves in this Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac, has us really conjuring up some big dreams, some big visions, some big goals. Even more than that, really triggering and activating some big feels, some big truth. We are having a lot of realizations going on within us right now, and Mercury is going to get into the boxing ring and square off with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings in this Taurus energy that has us very focused on what it is that we want to build and create in our physical realms, where routines, relationships, money matters, and long-term goals are concerned. What we're going to get with this, because of course a square is not enjoyable, it creates tension, it creates conflict. What we're going to get from this is a little bit of an information overload. We might be overloaded with thoughts, with new information, with new perspectives, with new details. We might be overwhelmed with emotion. We might recognize where it is that we are too fixated on a certain thought, on a certain goal, on a certain vision, on certain details. We tend to exaggerate, turn the volume all the way up, magnify, intensify things with this Jupiter energy. And it just feels like we are having a hard time articulating what it is that we actually want to say, what we actually want to build, what we actually want to bring to life. There is, a lot of confusion around this time because it is the dark phase of the moon. So there is no light, there is no clarity. And we're kind of exaggerating on particular points that we feel are important that actually aren't as important as we feel that they are. It's hard to focus, and we may be a little bit of a chatty Cathy wanting to talk, but of course we have nothing to really talk about. Many of us just talking for the pure effect of hearing ourselves talk, and a lot of that can create a lot of anxiety, a lot of ideas, a lot of collaborations, a lot of triggers and activations in our mental plane that just aren't useful. So we're definitely going to have to kind of struggle it out in our mental plane, because we're recognizing where in the dysfunction of our thoughts and the lack of clarity that we actually have, what it is that we need to put more time and energy into researching, into exploring, as far as some of the ideas and opportunities that we're currently contemplating bringing to life and creating. The good thing about this particular cluster F in the mental plane is that it's going to illuminate the problems. Why is that a good thing? Because we're in a situation to actually solve them. And so, we might be kind of all over the place, but at the same time, there is a certain beautiful organic unfolding when it comes to a lot of the confusion that we're sitting in. And of course, the breakdown leads to the breakthrough. The moon is then going to go ahead and sextile Uranus. Sextile is a beautiful energy. It's harmonizing, it's blending its energies with Uranus, the great awakener, who of course is in this Taurus energy. So what we got going on here is a breakthrough of sorts. And hopefully the breakthrough is realizing where it is that we have to let go, where it is that we have to kind of break the cord, burn the bridge, if you will, to the past, where we have to surrender our control issues, where it is that we have to kind of, I'm going to say, be in a state, especially emotionally, to recognize where holding on to the past is actually creating the energy blockages and challenges that we're currently facing and trying to move on and trying to move forward. The Uranian energy brings in an epiphany, brings in an aha moment, brings in the independent and rebellious nature that we need to align with in order to say, you know what, it's okay. Although the future might be a little bit scary because I don't know what to expect, because I know that it's not familiar, because I haven't been here before, instead of being afraid of it, instead of really recognizing where it is that I feel powerless, where I don't feel in control, I'm going to flip the script and actually convince myself that we are on a very exciting adventure. And of course, when we change the narrative, we change our whole emotional demeanor, our attitude, and therefore makes it a lot easier to break away from the old in order to open ourselves up to the new. The moon will be making a positive interaction with Jupiter. Jupiter is pushing for growth, for expansion. First and foremost, in our emotional realm, where it is that we're holding on too tightly, too desperately to the old, even though we've been praying for change. Jupiter is going to illuminate for us where it is that we know better. And when you know better, you have to do better. So we're at a very important pivotal point under this particular new moon energy, and with the node shifting, where it is that we are seeing doors close on the past, on the old version of self, on old circumstances, on old relationships, on old tough love life lessons. In order for Jupiter, who wants us to grow, who wants us to really expand our horizons, Jupiter really wants us to see what is possible for us when we stop looking back and we stop pouring so much time and energy into trying to keep everything the same. 2:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon in Cancer is going to come up to, bump into, team up with the sun, already in Cancer energy, which of course gives us our new moon. Again, please listen to the astro forecast. Please download your moon guide to truly understand the energies that the planets bring to us, the opportunities for growth and healing that they offer us, and just kind of understand how the interaction between some of these aspects are triggering, highlighting, activating certain emotions, certain thoughts, certain memories within us in order for us to process them from a different way, and therefore let them stay in the past where they belong. Now, only a couple of hours later, 4:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if we're being specific, we have the nodes of the moon shifting. And of course, we are shifting into this Aries and Libran energy. This is a big deal. If you are a cardinal sign, this is going to be a major shift. If you have Aries and Libran energy placements, this is also going to be a little bit of more of a doozy for you over the next 18 months. But for all of us, we are shifting into a new path, a new direction, a new life lesson. This is definitely going to illuminate partnerships. This is definitely going to push you to be more independent, more on a solo adventure, really just learning how to kind of boss ourselves up, how to love ourselves, how to put ourselves first, how to trust our instincts, how to take the lead, and to do so with a warrior type spirit instead of a fearful attitude. There's going to be a whole range of different aspects popping off over the next 18 months, eclipse season specifically, because that's where the nodes of the moon do their best work. And we are going to see a lot of things change over the next 18 months. And although some of us may perceive some of these changes as quote unquote loss or punishment, what you have to understand is anything that is being kind of taken away from you is because your ego attracted that, not your higher self. So anything that is kind of being removed out of your life that you perceive as a loss or a punishment or anything like that, just know that it is no longer serving you, that it needs to be removed in order to create the space for you to align with your higher self and build something more raw and authentic in its place. And it's going to be a very tough love life lesson, a very bumpy ride for all of us over the next 18 months, but it's pushing us into our highest potential. It's pushing us into the highest soul mission that we could possibly have. So just learn to trust yourself and trust the process. Mercury will then make an interaction with Neptune. Okay, so this is going to add to the confusion. This is going to push us out of the logical and practical realm of our intellect and push us into La La Land. And maybe La La Land isn't a bad thing. Keep in mind that Neptune is retrograde in Pisces energy, so we haven't really had a free all-access pass to La La Land. Neptune's whole purpose, being retrograde, is for us to stop living in La La Land, for us to get our head out of the clouds, for us to stop running away from what it is that we've been avoiding, just start really feeling what it is that we have to heal instead of numbing. And therefore, there's been a lot of in-your-face reality that we've had to deal with. So every now and then we're going to get the opportunity to kind of drift away from reality, live in La La Land for a little bit, really kind of push our imagination into a new level of creating a vision, a dream, a goal that now is going to excite our soul and really kind of trigger a new level of passion and desire for us to actually pursue said things. But this is definitely not going to help with the clarity. Let's just kind of, clear that up. We're in the dark phase of the moon. We aren't supposed to have clarity. We will gain clarity and insight when that sliver of the moon appears in the night sky here in a couple of days. Until then, get comfortable with the darkness, get comfortable with the confusion, get comfortable in this adjustment period, as hard as that may be, because again, it is better to roll than be dragged. The moon is then going to trine Neptune. Okay, so Mercury kind of had this thing with Neptune. Now the moon is getting down and kind of vibing well with Neptune. A lot of that is just because the Cancer energy and the Pisces energy, they're both water signs. So what we're doing here is we're actually like moving inward. Our inner realms are very alive and well. We're very nostalgic. We're very dreamy. We're very imaginative. We're living in La La Land. We're having a great time. And all of this should lead to a little bit of a glimpse, a little bit of a puzzle piece on what it is that we're now inspired to push ourselves to go after. So this isn't a bad thing. And even more than that, our intuition is coming in hella strong, which many of us will try to intellectualize, which absolutely just sucks the magic out of our intuition, period. But nonetheless, this is a beautiful energy for us to really remind ourselves, not only about who it is that we are, but what it is that we desire to pursue. This is going to also give us a little bit of a refreshment in our spiritual matters. We're going to feel a little bit renewed and revived. And none of those things are bad things, especially with the energy shift, the karmic shift that we're all currently going through. The moon will interact with Venus in such a way that will highlight for us where it is that we may be having a change of heart, especially where relationships are concerned, where our jobs are concerned, our money matters, our resources are concerned. Keep in mind that Venus is just days away from going retrograde in this Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac, that has very similar vibes, triggering and activating certain topics, themes, storylines from 2015. I'm going to invite you just to take a minute, kind of see where it is that you were at that time, and see how maybe some of the situations and circumstances that you're currently dealing with in the here and now resemble certain life lessons, certain topics and themes that you would have been experiencing back then. This particular interaction with Venus is really going to illuminate for us where it is that we are or are not happy with our current circumstances. And more often than not, the lens that we're currently looking through is more focused on where we're not happy, where we're not feeling safe, where we're not feeling secure, where we're not feeling content, where we're not feeling pleasure and joy. We need to be illuminated to where we're feeling the funk, because that is a problem. And right now we're in the realm of identifying problems so that we can fix them. And when Venus goes retrograde, that is when we're going to rearrange, reorganize, restructure, reframe, redo, rework, recalibrate, all those rewords, our realms of love matters, of money matters. Our values are changing, our priorities are changing, the people in our lives are changing, and this is kind of opening up the door, if you will, on recognizing what and who needs our attention first and foremost. The last thing that we got going on here today is the moon making a direct opposition, which we talk about this in not only the astro forecast for the new moon event, but in the moon guide as well. The moon is directly opposing Pluto, the great transformer, who is retrograde here in this Capricorn energy. Now, this isn't going to feel good. I'm not going to lie to you. Pluto tends to illuminate the darkness, illuminate the destruction, illuminate the power struggles, illuminate the control issues. But here's the thing. This is going to push us into a state where we either have a choice to kind of surrender to the paranoia or the fear narrative, or push ourselves to take action and make moves out of fear instead of love. And realistically, this is going to illuminate the obstacles, the challenges that we're feeling less than prepared to actually tackle. And although there are some very strong aspects taking place here today that should help us counteract this Plutonian energy, at the end of the day, this is the last aspect that the moon in Cancer is going to make before going void, of course, and preparing to shift into that Leo energy. But emotionally speaking, we're feeling the heaviness, we're feeling the weight, we're feeling the funk, we're feeling the darkness. The goal here is to not react to that funk. We don't want to take action, make moves, because we will be doing so out of the egoic, fear-based programming. The whole point, the pivot point that we're in right now, is to let go of those energies, let go of that narrative, let go of those attachments, let go of the want, need, and desire to have everything figured out and to feel like you're in power and in control of all the different details and elements that are currently taking place. We have to roll instead of being dragged. The bravest thing that you can do is let go and release some of the things that you've been holding on very dearly to, all in the name of holding on to what is old, tried, tested, true, and familiar, and resisting the new adventure, the new opportunities that we've essentially been praying for. So don't let the funk suck you in. Don't let the funk fool you. We have an ability to override these programs and to really empower ourselves and put ourselves in a much stronger position to realize that we are making the choice to let certain aspects of ourselves, of our circumstances go in order to create a space for something new to be built in its place.